Hi everybody, my name is Lynette. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel. According to the charts for zip code 13308, which is where I am, our last annual frost day is May 18th. And this record keeping and calendars is all a man-made way to keep track of time. And unfortunately, Mother Nature has no concept of it and is under no obligation to follow it, which is why when we got a frost warning for tonight, May 19th, I, as a gardener, have to have a strategy, a way to protect any of the frost-sensitive annuals or plants that I may have already planted. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I protect my plants. We're also going to do a little bit of a tour while we're walking around protecting them. And we're just going to overall just talk about things that I need to do here in the garden. If you find this video helpful and interesting, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave me a comment of your zip code and what state you live in. I'm really curious as to where all my followers are. So let's get started. I'm going to turn you around and we're going to start walking around the garden. We're going to start our tour on the back porch here. You can see I've already started to pull some of my frost-sensitive annuals. I'm pulling them up on the porch and I'm actually going to be tucking them underneath some of my patio furniture. Anything that I put up close to the house should be pretty well protected. I've already got my pots filled and ready to go with soil, so I'll be planting the annuals for those pretty soon. This is our back courtyard, and right now this is kind of like plant preparation station. This is where everything is happening pretty much. The fountain is going, and you can see I already planted up some of my annual pots, and I did a video on that. If you're interested, you can sign up or look at that and see what plants I put in here. But I have 6 planters that I did identical around the patio here. I've got more annuals here that need to go up on the porch. And then on this table, most of these are annuals that I grew in the basement, so they're going to be put into the garage to protect them from any frost. And let's see what else. Oh, back here. If you've been following my videos, you know I transplanted and I dug up and divided a whole bunch of daylilies. These are the daylilies back here. They're looking fantastic. Now these aren't going to be bothered by the frost, so I don't really need to do anything for them. If we turn around, we go back this way. You can see these are some plants I've picked up from around town, going to different garden centers and picking up some things. These are mostly perennials. I don't have to worry about those. And oh, look at what I found at Lowe's. Isn't that the most beautiful rhododendron? Let me see if we can get in here and get the name of it. Mini Tonka rhododendron, hardy to zone 5, which is perfect for me. Normally all we have here in this area is Roseum elegans, which is a pink rhododendron, and it's beautiful, it's really good, but that's all we really have. So I was so excited to find this light purple, and we'll see how that overwinters for us over the years, but just a new color to add to the garden. Now my front garden is really kind of my spring statement, and you can see that the deciduous azalea right now, the bright orange, is just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. We've got Columbine coming up. There's a little bit of digitalis that should be in bloom pretty soon, but this is my front spring garden. And then as you go underneath the birch tree, you can see the red begonias that I've already planted up. These I am going to have to protect because they are not frost hardy. And realistically, if we get a killing frost, it's going to knock these hostas back a little bit, even though they're hardy and they'll rebound, but the leaves will never look as beautiful as they look right now if that is a killing frost. So let's just soak in the beauty of those giant hosta leaves. And we're just going to turn around and head towards the front of the garage. My tricolored beech is very light right now. I don't know why, but I'm sure it'll perk up in a little bit here. My Bloomerang Lilac, it smells so pretty when you walk down this pathway. I've got red azaleas, and let me see if we can get in here. And look at those Columbine. Aren't they beautiful? They reseed all over in here. As a matter of fact, I harvest the seeds and spread them around. But it's just a nice little breath of sunshine when you walk down the pathway. But I want to start with how I'm going to protect these planters that I did just a couple days ago in front of the garage. And I'll be doing a video on that shortly. But these are not, everything in here, well, there's only one perennial in there that would take the frost. So I'm going to have to protect this. So I'm going to set up the tripod and I'll show you what I'm going to do to keep the frost from attacking these. Throughout the season when I'm doing trimming, if I come across nice straight sticks or branches that I'm taking off a bush, I save them because they come in handy for stakes or even for using for frost protection, just like this. I am going to put these all around my pot, right along the edge. Put this shorter one in the back, and this one right here. And then I'm going to use some sheer curtains. I pick these things up whenever I am at rummage sales or at Salvation Army. And basically, I am going to use, what are they called? Clips, clotheslines, clothes clips, and wrap this all around the pot. So that it's nice and secure and the wind can't blow this off. Because if you just lay a cloth over the top, it would just blow off. So this is a way I can protect my plants, also protecting part of the top. And that way, if we do get a frost, it can't hit the foliage and my plants will be protected and they'll never even know that there was a frost. It's starting to look a little bit more like Halloween than spring. But anyway, when you get out of your car and you walk down the sidewalk in the spring, this is what you are greeted by. My beautiful azaleas and my mother's iris. I got to get these in. They came from my mother's garden, those beautiful little yellow iris. I love you, Ma. You walk down here and you're underneath the canopy of my beautiful river birch. It's just a very welcoming, peaceful entry. And this year, I dug up the daylilies that were under here and I've put in some begonias. And these are frost sensitive. So the next thing we're going to cover up are the begonias. Because I have such a large area that I need to cover with these begonias, I'm going to use this frost blanket. It's from DuPont and it's called Plant Protection Frost Blanket. It is 12 feet by 10.5 feet. So this will cover a large area, which will make covering this easy. I can just cover a group of them at one time. So basically, we're just going to cover the plants. Now this fabric is nice and light. It really doesn't put any pressure on the plants at all, which is great because if you have tall plants, you definitely don't want to break off any pretty flowers that have already started to form. You can use sheets also. They're a little bit heavier than this, but they're definitely not 12 feet long. Sheets aren't 12 feet long, so buying these frost blankets, if you have big areas that you need to cover, makes a lot of sense. And these can be reused year after year after year. You cannot wash these, so just keep that in mind. But again, you're just going to drape the fabric over the top of the plants. Now again, we do need to secure them, so I've got the clothespins. So that'll help keep them in place. Because the wind will blow these off. And there's nothing worse than thinking you have your plants totally protected and then you come out here and you find that they blew off in the middle of the night. Doesn't want to grab. There we go. Okay. And I'll put this one on a little bit later, but you get the idea. Now, another thing you might want to do is weight the sides down so again they can't blow away. So use whatever you can. I have some hose guards. You can just throw those down on the side, on the bottom, to weight it down again so it doesn't blow away. And realistically, another thing you could do, these are the daylilies that I dug up from here, so I know they're hardy. If I wanted to, I could place them down to help hold down the cloth. And that way the wind can't get underneath there and blow those cloths away. And the frost isn't going to hurt the daylilies. They're really tough. So that's what I need to do, those last 4 on the back. But these are all protected and ready to go. And then hopefully tomorrow morning I can lift them off and they'll never even know there was a frost. While we're here in the front garden, I want to show you this one plant. It is so different. I believe its name is Chardonnay Pearls. It's a Deutzia, and it's a proven winter shrub. I don't know if you can see that. The chartreuse foliage and then all the little buds, they're little round balls. It is just so enchanting. It is such a neat little texture. And let me show you. You can see there's some flowers that are starting to open, and that's the size. You can see my finger there. So they're tiny, tiny, but all these little buds are just little round balls. So interesting. Really nice little plant. Oops, I think we're getting out of focus there. There we go. Got you back. But anyway, isn't that just neat? And then this, I believe, is called an eclipse hydrangea. Dark burgundy foliage. I am so thrilled it overwintered. It's supposed to get reddish flowers on it, and I'm hoping that this is going to work. I'm going to pick up another one since this one overwintered. Even if it doesn't flower, I love the foliage color. I think that's going to be just beautiful. But anyway, here's a look. Looks much better when the begonias are uncovered, but you can see how beautiful the hostas are right now. Just wonderful. So let's go back towards the patio. and cover up some more plants. I recently did a video on how I put these planters together, and there's a diagram and a list of all the plants that I put in here. But to protect them from the frost, I'm going to use a wire cage. Now, what this is, years ago, there were a whole bunch of these big, tall, giant wire cages, tomato cages at Walmart, and nobody was buying because they were huge. They were so big, nobody had any idea what to do with them. So I bought a whole bunch of them and I cut them down. So if you can imagine it, this was how tall the cage was. I went down and cut it, leaving little spikes like this. Now, I can use this in the garden to help hold up some short plants. You know, this goes in the ground just like a normal tomato cage, and this is the ring and it'll hold things up. So it works that way. But I also use it in my containers. I bend these legs down and I kind of weave them together there, and then I put them on top of my containers. Now, I've done this and left them on there in the past, especially if I'm doing kind of really tall, full, bushy things. This year I don't think I'm going to need it. So I was able to just set them right on top of the planter with the plants already planted in it. And now I can just protect it from frost by using something like a sheet. And we're just going to lay the sheet over the top. Get those clothespins out again. Where's the... Make sure that it's covered all up. And then just use those clothespins and pin all the way around. Again, you don't want any chance of the wind blowing this off. Oops, I gotta grab another clothespin. You can pick up clothespins at the dollar store, so they're very inexpensive. And then I also keep all my frost blankets and supplies in a tote so that, I don't know, will that work? It might work. So I keep everything in a single tote that's just labeled frost blankets, so that when it's frost season, I can just pull that out and everything I have is right there. Nope, doesn't work to clip it on the side of the pot. But again, you just clip it like that. And that's all protected. And now I'm going to do the 5 other pots that I have that are just like this. All right, so as you can see, we've got all these planters all buttoned up for the frost. Let's head back up to the patio, or to the porch. Now, you don't have to have fancy contraptions to protect your plants. If you've just got 1 or 2 plants, you can get yourself a box. Just put a box right over the top of your plant. Tuck those leaves in underneath. And that'll be fine from the frost, if you're worried about it. I'm not worried about it so much under the porch here. As I said earlier, I'm just going to move everything closer to the house. But as you come around here, whoops, went a little too fast, sorry. I do have 2 planters here that I potted up that have tender annuals in them. And I'll be doing a video on what I did with these in a little bit. But let me switch the camera and we'll talk about how we're going to protect these. I'm sure some of you are saying, but I don't have old tomato cages that are big that I could do that with, or I don't have straight sticks. Well, you can go out and just use regular sticks as well. This is the burning bush that I cut down because the rabbits ate so much of it over the winter that I had to take it all the way to the ground. So we're just going to stick some of these right in here. No need to do anything really special or fancy with them. We're just creating that canopy that's going to hold up the blanket or the sheet or whatever we're going to drape over the top of it, that's just going to protect it from the frost. So you don't have to have special blankets or special cloth. You can just scrounge around the house and see what you have. You know, for that matter, if you want to use one of your husband's dress shirts to drape over the top of this to protect it from the frost, go for it. You're probably the one doing the laundry anyway. Another thing you can use, we have a whole bunch of these little fence pieces that we bought years ago. You can just stick those in along the outside edge. Just like that, and drape your cloth over the top of that. Put the clothespins, or you can use those alligator binder clips if you don't have clothespins. So just scrounge around the house and see what you have. Like I said, you don't have to have anything really fancy. You just need to be prepared and figure out how you're going to beat Mother Nature when she throws you a curveball. Now that we've got all the pots, containers covered up, we're just going to walk around the garden a little and look at some highlights, some really cool things that are sprouting here in the garden. And the first thing I think I want to show you is my tricolored beech. The leaves are just starting to emerge, and they are this beautiful, beautiful pink color. They're going to get even a little bit more vibrant than this. But this is just such a beautiful spring color. Unfortunately, they get a little crispy later in the season because they don't really like a lot of sun. But to me, it's worth it to have this beautiful foliage this time of year. Let's scoot over this way because there's some shade plants. Ooh, that was tough to say. That are looking pretty darn good right now. These little columbines. So pretty. These were just a clearance thing from Lowe's. And I don't know if you go to your Lowe's, but they have a whole bunch of these on the clearance racks right now. They don't look this good, but just pick up the Columbine. Wonderful. And then this is Tiarella. It's a nice little ground cover. So when you get a heuchera and you cross it with the Tiarella, you get a heucherella. So you get the genetics of both of the plants. So this is what the Tiarella looks like. Just beautiful. And then this shrub, I'm drawing a blank, so I'll put it on the screen. But this is a proven winner's tree. I think it's wedding something. And it's going to get really tall, and the branches are supposed to go horizontal. I bought this a few years ago. It came in a 4-inch pot, and I've been babying it for years. And last year I put it out here, and it did really well. And this year, what happened? The snow broke off some of the branches. So this whole big branch should be way up like this. So I'm just going to have to get in there and clip it down. So sad, but look at the color of those leaves. Again, it's a proven winners, and I will put the name of it up above. The hostas, they look so good. I am hoping so bad that we don't get a killing frost tonight. Hopefully it's just a light frost, and being underneath these crabapple trees will protect them and keep them a little bit safe from getting any kind of frost damage. Can't guarantee it, but Mother Nature always has a will of her own. And there's some more different kinds of Tiarella. But this just looks so beautiful. Beautiful right now. And I think that purple rhododendron that I showed you at the beginning of the video is going to find a home right back in here. I think that will be beautiful. So let's head back this way. Oh, let's see. So here's another one of those Deutzias with the little balls on them. So cute, so, so cute. That's a weed. That's a mullein, a wild mullein. But isn't it interesting? And the leaves are nice and fuzzy. It gets a tall yellow spike flower on it. Don't ever let it go to seed because it will take over. But once in a while you get one that'll pop up. And it's rather interesting. Makes a big statement there. Sometimes Mother Nature knows exactly what she's doing. And if we come back here, you can see my Bloomerang Lilac. This was another clearance. This was a really pathetic plant when I bought it. I think it's only one stick coming out, and I was so mad at myself for even paying the price that I paid for it on clearance, but it has just done beautifully right there. And then underneath it is the blue ajuga, the bugleweed, which don't plant it. It's really invasive. It'll choke everything out. But if you're willing to do the maintenance to keep it under control, it is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're going to head back this way. This is a catalpa. We have a big catalpa tree right here, which if you don't know what the catalpas are, some people call them cigar trees. They get long bean pods. This is one of their bean pods right here, and they hang down off the tree, and this tree has gone to seed, so every once in a while we get a catalpa that sprouts up. So that's on my list of things to do, is to dig that up and pot it up and find somebody who wants it. Oh, we come back through here. And I think we're going to go look at some hostas, because again, we don't want that killing frost that's going to knock them back, so we better look at them now. So you can see a little bit of them back in there. This is my shade garden, but again, it's another maintenance plant area, or maintenance area. Someday I hope to have a little patio here because it's a nice shady spot to sit. But for right now, it's kind of a working zone. I have my leaf pile that I need to come out and spread mulch. But if you come back here, you can see just how beautiful all the different hostas are. And they'll fill in by the end of the season. But it's just so nice to see them when they're fresh and new and there's no slug damage. And there's another catalpa growing in that pot. If anybody wants catalpas, leave me a comment. You can come pick them up. And let's head back around the front. I'm so sorry I didn't get the crab apples in bloom. They were beautiful. If you watch my video on how to choose a crab apple, you'll see what they look like. But here's more of my mom's yellow iris. And the Solomon seal, which is this little variegated plant that looks like a big lily of the valley, has the little bells, flowers hanging underneath it. That's a really dry, shady spot underneath this tree, and they are going gangbusters. So if you have a dry, shady, this is east facing, so it gets morning sun, but obviously it's underneath the canopy of a tree. So it's going to prevent it from getting a lot of water and not direct sun. And they are going gangbusters in there. And I have them mixed with the Columbine that just comes up all over. So this is kind of a wild area for me. Very relaxed garden, not formal at all. And it'll probably be in a couple weeks, and the foxglove will be open, as well as the rhodies that took a terrible hit this year. But anyway, we're heading back towards the front. You can see the begonias that we have covered up. And the beautiful hostas, just all different kinds. And we're back to the front, where we start when you enter the gardens. So thanks so much for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe and share, and leave me your zip code so I know where you are from. Take care and have a great day. I hope you're not getting frost where you are, and that you can get out in your garden and do some gardening. Whoops, I forgot to mention something. Do not use plastic to cover up your plants. The cold air gets trapped inside the plastic, and it actually isn't good for the plants. It doesn't allow them to breathe, or the moisture in the air to circulate like the cloth does. Because frost it's not determined by the temperature on the outside. So it can be 40 degrees and you can still get a frost. It has to do with humidity, it has to do with wind, it has to do with the moisture in the ground, and all these different things are combined. And it usually happens late night, early morning before sunset or sunrise. So you have time to cover your plants. If you work the late shift or you get home late at night and something's going on, you can cover late at night, because it's not going to really start to form. The frost doesn't form until probably after midnight, until the morning when the sun comes up, or till 8 o'clock in the morning usually. That's what they say around here. So anyway, don't use plastic. That's the one takeaway from today's video. Now I'm going to say goodbye. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Get out in your garden and have some fun.